Hello listeners and viewers, I'm Brad and this is Offcut Media. Today we are watching the 1976 mystery spoof written by the legendary Neil Simon, Murder by Death. Even though my favourite film of all time is Clue, there's plenty of videos already saying how amazing that is, so I thought I'd look at the film that could have been seen as the prototype for Clue. We start with the credit sequence that was obviously done in a afternoon, but the names in this cast are incredible. We have Mrs. Peacock, Columbo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Dr. Strangelove, who is a bit non-PC in his interpretation of Charlie Chan. The invitees to this dinner and murder have their names changed to protect the innocent, or at least the innocent writers and authors.
Do you think they'll come, sir?
Oh, they'll come. They'll come all right.
We first meet Bond and Maggie Smith.
Funny, I could have sworn
What, Dickie?
it sounded as though somebody slipped the wire.
Peter Sellers and his counterpart follow, with Poirot and the farmer from Babe close
I can feel
behind.
it in my buns.
You know what?
In my buns.
Columbo and Mrs. Peacock are next, going through the background of the host.
His mother was a Roman Catholic, his father was an Orthodox Jew. They were separated 2 hours after the marriage.
As the guests arrive, they meet the blind Obi-Wan Kenobi,
An electronic device. Mr. Twain, as you will soon discover, prefers his atmosphere murky.
We soon notice that the host Twain is also a bit of a prankster, so this is going to be an interesting night. First part of the film doesn't lend itself to being too much more than just a montage of scenes to introduce these caricatures, but really I'm not complaining seeing these actors involved. We also meet the deaf maid who's getting the rundown of the night from the frustrated Benson mum.
And turn up the flame on the squabs. Have you got that?
Whilst the current guests mingle and trade wits,
Pretty good pickings over there solving crimes for them barons and earls and putting your fancy fees into private Swiss banks.
we get the grand entrance of Jessica Marbles.
Jessica Marbles. This is Miss Withers, my nurse.
The guests sit down for their dinner and realise that Twain is once again testing them throughout the evening.
Just as I thought. Another test that could have cost us our lives. Saved only by the fact that I am enormously well bred.
And not only is he testing their intelligence, he's testing their appetite.
Taste it for yourself.
I see what you mean, sir.
But we eventually get to meet the mysterious host, who is voiced by obviously Philip Seymour Hoffman.
God, what an entrance.
Oh, a bit theatrical, Miss Marble, but I do so love illusion.
Twain reveals his intentions.
Out from the outside world, only to discover a dead body on the floor, stabbed 12 times in the back with a butcher's knife.
He also makes the offer a little bit more enticing.
$1 million to the one who solves the crime.
So in the next hour we have to discover who is the murderer and who is the victim. However, they are stopped by Yetta, the deaf maid.
Butler is dead. My name is Yatta. I don't work Thursdays.
Perrier, Wang and Marbles investigate whether the butler is dead, but they also discover more.
You mean?
Yes, this entire murder has been catered.
As the guests venture further into the house, it becomes more like a labyrinth. Shame there's no magic dance.
Where were you, Wang? We was worried.
This time Diamond and Charleston investigate the death of the butler, but once again, Twain is playing Twix.
Why didn't I stand guard? You look all over the body.
You look over the first dead naked body that we find, and I'll look over the second.
The clock ticks towards midnight, and the Scooby Gang decide they should stay together. Twain ultimately spoils the night and winds up dead. We also discover another interesting note.
Is that the cook's arm?
Got a little surprise for you folks.
Mannequin.
They retire once again to the drawing room to determine who has the connection to Twain.
In fact, he was engaged to and jilted Miss Jessica Marbles.
Jesus H. Christ.
And after toing and froing, they decide to sleep on it to see if anything makes sense in the morning. However, the House of Twain has other plans in store for the detectives.
Someone just put deadly snake in the room.
One host with a butcher's knife in his back, and one poisonous scorpion crawling up our sheets.
Good God. Gas.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm old.
I take it, sign you here, Mr. Diamond. There's a bomb in your room that will go off in 30 seconds. Signed, the murderer.
Oh, mon Dieu! The ceiling is coming down!
Do all the detectives survive? Well, Wang does. and solves the crime.
$1 million, Mr. Benson, Mom.
Oh, maybe he didn't.
Listen, Mum. Alias Irving Goldman.
But as a man, you are barely passable. But as a woman, you are a dog. That's your opinion. Big boy.
Sitting behind that desk is the real Sam Diamond.
Okay, this is getting confusing.
You've all been so clever for so long.
So it's... No, I'm still confused.
And even the scorpion was fake?
Everything. The bridge, the maid.
But you're sure about the scorpion?
Murder by Death is a quirky piece of 70s cinema that maybe doesn't have the impact that it had back then. It's generally slow-paced and makes you double-guess what's actually happening. I, for one, have seen it several times and still trip up on some aspects of it. I was trying to find out how much this film actually did make during its time. Funnily enough, on one source it said it made $32 million at the box office, another source it said it made $32,000. So I'm still unsure, but hopefully it did make something. The opening credits were created by Charles Addams, who is the creator of The Addams Family, and his caricatures were used not only at the beginning but also at the end and also in the film's poster. There actually is a lot of trivia on this film, so you can delve into it further if you want to, but these are a few of my highlights. This was the first film for James Cromwell, but unfortunately it was the last film for both Estelle Winwood and Nancy Walker. Alec Guinness, while on the set of Murder by Death, actually received the script for Star Wars A New Hope and read it in between takes. The other interesting part is that Peter Sellers was the main prankster on set rather than Truman Capote, but he actually felt that the film would flop. So he got the producers to actually buy back his percentage share, and that cut him out of all future profits from the film. Murder by Death has some dated humour and some dated archetypes, particularly in Sellers' imitation of Charlie Chan, but for what it's worth, the film is still a great comedy. Great practical jokes, great one-liners.
I'm not a Frenchie, I'm a Belgie.
And a cast that is just incredible, not only to read out, but to actually see on screen. Film should be available on some services digitally if you want to rent it, or you might be able to find another way. I'm Brad and this is Offcut Media. If you have any other suggestions for films you want me to review, to analyse, to berate or riff, put it into the comments below and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching.
You're fired, you understand? Fired.